We are live, my friends. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream, discussion stream today. Can you hear me, my friends? Yeah. Yeah, I come a bit more earlier because I wanted to do also some other things today, some gaming. So we are going to start the discussion earlier. How are you doing? Alright guys, so subject of the day, World of Warcraft, the new expansions, plethora. 3 expansions were announced. Now I'll be back on this really shortly, which is the War Within, which basically we might have to go into the confinements of Hazaroth itself. Midnight might be the Void expansion, and the Last Titan, whatever that means. Could it be Azeroth, the last Titan, or another Titan that we do not know, that is sleeping in the core of Azeroth? We don't know, but what we know is this is the first time we see 3 expansions being announced. We also know some details. We know that for a fact that these expansions will have a lower lifespan. So that means that you will get you have to get very quickly to raiding and gear yourself really quickly, and usually that process takes some time, you know. The game, how can I say, the game is not hard, you just need time, and if you start making shortcuts, well, that's a good thing. You're making the game accessible to everyone. But why is Blizzard doing this? Well, I think I know a reason. You know, World of Warcraft is losing player base. I mean, oh, hi Defec. World of Warcraft is losing constant player base, you know? Every time an expansion is announced, sure, people come, and even before the first raid starts, people uninstall the game. Now, why this phenomena is occurring? You know, World of Warcraft grabbed the minds of the people that now have 28 to 35 years old, you know? So that people has less time in life to play versus the new generation, or you might call it Generation Z or whatever. Now, this Generation Z do not play World of Warcraft, and if they play, they do not play for so long. They are playing other games like Fortnite or whatever, other big titles around there. And with the release of GamePass and many other services, you pretty much can play everything, right? So, World of Warcraft, as its core, it's a slow-paced game, you know? An expansion usually had 2 years lifespan, and you had to gear yourself, you had to grind, you go to a pub, oh, someone left the group, oh, raid is over, now you have to find another group. You know, it's time consuming, but it's part of the core of the game, the society, you know. Now, if you take those points out of the game and make it more faster and easier for everyone, would it really compensate? And that's the main topic that I'm going to go deep on this subject and try to see if this decision of faster expansion and content and making the game easier is good for World of Warcraft. Now, on a premeditated opinion of myself, I think that in the short term, this is really good for the game, because the game is losing players, you know. The cons is that you won't have a stronger player base. By that I mean there won't be many guilds, you know. Players will join up the game, they will raid, and probably they'll end up the day without caring for the guilds, for the people. So I have the feeling that it will be basically a Raid Finder 2.0, more improved, besides raiding and for everything in the game. The game will feel faster, the expansions will release faster, everything will be discardable. That's the part that doesn't match with MMOs, you know, at least in my opinion. So, in the long term, it's still possibly a downfall for World of Warcraft, unless they take advantage of this somehow. Now, I don't know how they will take advantage of this. Because they proven, for example, on Overwatch, that they can't synergize quick play games with lore, with other mechanics. So I hope they find a balance, you know. But will they be able to find a balance in such quick expansion releases? Are they ready for that? How will the lore, how it will impact the lore and other things in the game? It gives me a feeling that the game will be really easy and will have a discardable feeling. So it's kinda mixed. So guys, I have here a video that I still haven't seen. I only saw the trailer of the new expansion. So I'm gonna watch with you this video, pause sometimes and try to give my commentary on this. But overall, I'm not against or in favor for the direction that Blizzard is going. But they really have to do something good, because if they show a final product more rushed, like and the core is still there, you know, it will be bad. They will need to readapt the core and adapt into this new environment of faster releases. You know, I think they might not be ready, because we saw that on Overwatch, we saw that on Overwatch 2. Too many things missing, you know? Oh, I'm not, Defek, I'm not going to see the entire BlizzCon. I'm gonna just see this video because it's the World of Warcraft panel. It's the only thing that matters to me. The other games they can entirely uninstall. Because if they want to follow this and take this really serious business, they need to have full dedication on World of Warcraft and Diablo. The rest, please, stop. Heroes of the Storm, come on, stop that. Don't waste time there. I think they don't even release anything anymore there. So guys, let's see this 40-minute video and I will give you a brief opinion on it. I have here a song of a tavern, so let's see this. Oh, alright, so let me put full screen and let's go. World of Warcraft, the War Within.
4 years have passed since the mortal races gathered together in Anaheim, California.
Huh, California.
And now, the drums of BlizzCon thunder once again. Let me hear the thunder! Yes!
He might be a hard player.
Ah! Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Warcraft What's Next panel. My name is Taryn Gregory, and as maybe you may have heard, thank you. As you may have heard from Chris during the opening ceremonies, we are at the dawn of a new era of Warcraft, the World Soul Saga. A story that will play out over the
World
next
Soul
3
Saga.
expansions and will take us on an adventure in World
Yeah, World Soul Saga will be basically to heal Azeroth and try to remove the Sword of Sargeras, basically.
of Warcraft like we've never experienced before. This saga kicks off with the War Within.
Alright,
In
within.
this first chapter, our heroes will be called on an expedition to the subterranean depths of Azeroth, revealing a
Nice.
new world full of mystery, wonder, and darkness.
Alright.
There we will confront the shadows below and face new challenges on the battlefield as well as in ourselves.
Yeah, you know, there was already an expansion teased already so many years ago called The Deep Below. So maybe this will have some sort of connection with those leaks.
So what is next? During this section, I'll share an overview of the story of the War Within, and then next you'll hear from Maria Hamilton, who will speak to zones and cultures.
Cultures.
And then wrapping up with Morgan Day, who will talk about dungeons, the raid, and our new systems.
Oh, I really want to see the
Let's dig
systems.
in our cinematic reveal, did you guys enjoy the cinematic?
That was a great cinematic. Probably the
Ooh.
best I ever saw
Big shout out to the cinematic team for their work on that.
since
It's just an incredible work.
the Lich King one.
We witnessed as Thrall found Anduin Wrynn, who has been wandering alone for the last few years, grappling, lost in his own thoughts, and dealing with the experience that he's been through, as many of you may have
Yeah,
remembered.
Anduin is kind of
Throughout
traumatized.
this and our features trailer, we learned 2 very important developments, starting with these visions. Thrall spoke of a vision calling out from the heart of
The
the
Radiant
world,
song
like a
calls.
voice from a dream. This radiant song will
This
compel
has
our
to
heroes
be
investigate its origins,
Azeroth core,
and while at the
you know.
same time, a
Azeroth
darkness
itself.
has been gathering.
A
Even as the
darkness.
heroes adventured on the Dragon Isles, and in the War Within, the mysterious harbinger that Iridikron spoke of will reveal themselves. Xalatath has returned.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who is Xalatath.
Freed long ago from the black blade that once bound her, she is now the harbinger of a new era of the Void's dark machinations. And her message is clear. The Black Empire has fallen. The old gods are dead,
Alright.
and their ancient blood runs deep within the cracks of the world. We, the heroes of Azeroth, destroyed them. The forces of the Horde and the Alliance have proven time and again they are among the most powerful armies that have ever stood. The Harbinger has watched this. She is patient. And while the Black Empire failed, Xalatath now seeks to set in motion the rise of a new dark legacy. One that
Yeah, she might have some sort of connection later on with the Void, because I can't see how are we going to move from this, the expansion they're talking about, to the Void.
knows our true strength and will seek to test it against a new threat of terrible power, the Nerubians of Ashkahet.
Oh, the Nerubians.
Xalatath has conscripted the Nerubian queen and
You know,
having
there
offered her
was
people a new
a
future,
unused
one in which they will
an
rise
unused
from their
raid.
isolation.
There was an unused raid in the Wrath of the Lich King, and it was going to be really big. They really were going to do a map of the Nerubian underground as well. So this is really interesting to see. So they are reusing
as a
some
mighty kingdom
ideas.
once again. And here in this sprawling city of Ashkahet, we will not find
Nice.
the undead soldiers of the Lich King that we faced before,
Ah.
but instead a new mighty stronghold of the Nerubians as they once were. Deadly survivors of the mythic wars that have played out time and again over thousands of years. In return for their loyalty, Xalatath has granted the Nerubians the means of a dark evolution.
Dark
One that will
evolution.
turn the Nerubians into a new kind of ferocious and terrifying soldier that we will clash against time and again in the War Within.
All right, so it's kind
Now
of
let's talk about who
a
we'll be adventuring
Nerubian
with.
Humanoid.
the art?
I saw an image there of the model. All right,
Several of
so
Azeroth's greatest heroes will rise to the call of the Radiant Song, and many will be faced with their own unique challenges. Anduin, having survived his ordeal with domination.
that's
Yes,
a nice
look at the
art.
art. Oh, incredible artwork.
Yeah.
Anduin will be grappling with his relationship to the holy light that he no longer feels worthy of, while Thrall is seeking a connection to these visions.
Thrall is
spreading
getting
across
really
the world
old. I
and working
wonder
to
how
find
his
his new
son.
place in the Horde. While Magni Bronzebeard, long the Speaker of Azeroth,
Oh,
will confront the
there
heavy
it
weight of
is.
that responsibility once and for all.
Well, this guy here, Magni Bronzebeard, would know beforehand who is that voice coming from, if it's from Azeroth or another entity. This guy has to know.
The Wounds Champion! Yes! But that brings us to, I know you saw this in the features trailer, Alaria Windrunner.
There we go. Sylvanas' sister.
Alaria's journey will be central to the events of the themes of the War Within, as she, a Void Hunter, will use all of her prowess to hunt down the Harbinger while being torn between her own nature and the maddening call of the
I
Void
really want to
to
see the
which she is attuned.
systems of this
Along the
expansion
adventure, she will
and
have
the
a
raids.
unique rivalry with Xalatath, whose twists and turns will come to define the nature of this new conflict. Of course, we'll see many more familiar faces on our journey and meet a host of new and interesting characters along the way that Maria is going to tell you more about in just a moment. But finally, this saga is only just
A
beginning.
saga.
Conceived to be...
The saga is just the beginning. All right,
Yes!
more things to come then.
Conceived to be an epic worthy of the first 20 years of
Nice
World of
Uganda
Warcraft,
knuckles
the
there.
World Soul Saga aims to redefine the storytelling in our expansion set and strike boldly at the core themes that define Warcraft. The might of heroes, the responsibility of that power, the pursuit of justice. Got to do my best Mets in there. Justice!
All
And the
right.
importance
Don't
of
cringe,
finding
dude.
common ground as well as ourselves amidst adversity. Up next, may I introduce Maria Hamilton, who will be sharing more about our zones and cultures in the War Within. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is still an introduction to the expansion, but I really want to go how the system will play out, you know, because I think the time spans of these expansions will be like
Hello,
9
BlizzCon.
months.
Wow, I am so excited to be here and delighted to represent our team and tell you about the places that we will explore and the cultures we
All
will
right, the design
encounter
director.
in the War Within. I can't really see all of you out there. I know there's a lot of you, though, because I can hear you. And I hope to hear lots of oohs and ahs when you see some of this cool art I've got to show you.
All right, let's see the zones at
So
least.
let's get started. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Why people
Thank
are
you.
booing?
Okay, as Taryn mentioned earlier,
Yeah, I did not understood, but anyway, I see an X there.
will be called by the Radiant Song, dreamlike visions that
Oh,
come
hi
from the heart of the
Francisco, how are
Azeroth.
you?
This summons is going to lead us to the subcontinent of
We're
Khaz
checking
Algar, a place long
the
forgotten.
new Warcraft expansion panel.
It's only through recent explorations in Uldaman that we've discovered a Watcher report concerning a contingent of Earthen that was sent to this place long, long ago to investigate a
Thanks
fissure
for the
in
like.
sector. What exactly that means, we don't really know, but we can probably speculate. So first,
Yeah, the the design team will really have a troublesome time, because if the lifespan of the expansions are going to be reduced to, let us say, 1 year or 9 months, they really have to design really fast all those raids, all those instances, all those maps. I feel pity for the for the design team.
let's talk about the Earthen.
All right, so who are these? The Earthen.
There you go. There you go. All right, we have met Titan-forged Earthen before, of course, in Ulduar and other places. But this society of Earthen has been isolated within Khaz Algar for
Yeah,
a really long time. And have
kind of
developed
like
their
a
own
primal
layers and
version of the
customs.
dwarves, right?
Now, visually, these Earthen are a bit larger in stature, and they're noticeably blinged out. They've got gems all over them, bedazzled, blinged out. You know,
They
that
seem
kind
like
of thing,
rocks
right?
to me.
But philosophically, they are guided by the edicts of the Titans, a set of
Nice.
codified orders, duties, and expectations
All right.
that provide instructions for the core functions of their society.
Primal
you know,
version
Titans, order, all that,
of
right?
the dwarfs. Okay.
But the Titans have been absent for eons, and the Earthen are no longer united in their adherence to these edicts. They now exist as three groups that are estranged from each other. The Oathsworn, as their name suggests, still uphold the edicts faithfully and believe everyone else is doing it wrong. Their charge is guarding the Coreway, a Titan passageway that leads right to the core of Azeroth.
Oh.
They're primarily the city dwellers. They live conveniently near the object of their responsibility, that Coreway.
I bet
Now, the Unbound,
in the core
contrast,
it's
have
where the
abandoned
voices are
edicts,
coming.
and they are considered scandalously rebellious by the Oathsworn. Their original responsibility was providing the materials to keep the Titan installations supplied. And they're primarily rural. They're living in and around the quarries and the mines where natural resources can be acquired. They rarely interact with the city dwellers. They feel neglected and ignored because they have a different opinion on how they should live. Now, the machine speakers have strayed from the edicts in practice, but not with respect to their overall obligation to keep the Titan works functioning. They've had extremely limited contact with the surface dwellers, and they express no little disdain for those who just don't understand the great machines. Their homes are built around vast industrial projects under the surface that allow them to perform their functions in accordance with edicts, more or less. These different perspectives among the Earthen and their variable adherence to the Titan's edicts has weakened the society as originally structured. And that's not good, of course. But a much more serious problem is their steadily dwindling numbers. For reasons that I'm not going to get into here and now, New Earthen can't exist until we help
They cannot reproduce.
them out by doing some things and unite the Earthen society once more.
Maybe the forges that
Happily,
print those
as a result of our
dwarfs
actions, the Earthen will eventually be unlocked as an
are
allied
disabled
race.
and they cannot reproduce.
Yeah, like sweet, don't they?
So this is a
Yeah.
new race?
These player Earthen will replenish the culture's dwindling numbers and may join either the Horde or the Alliance.
Oh, like
Yeah.
the Pandaren.
It is, of course, player's choice
right.
which side you wish to ally with. But as you can see from a small sampling of combinations, there's some fantastic
This is really
variations
complex,
and
but
customizations
I'm
coming
liking.
for the Earthen models, including different gem incrustations, beards for all body types, rocky skin patterns, tones, and more. Now that golden mohawk with the braids and the fringe beard, that's quite the look. But I really like the beardless guy with the bushy blonde eyebrows. He looks so cool. He's just kind of like, yep, what do you want me to do? So anyway, all right, moving on. Another cool culture that players will encounter in the War Within is
the
the
Arathi.
Arathi. Yeah,
Arathi.
yeah, and you probably have questions, right? So these are descendants of the original Arathorian Empire, and they've arrived relatively recently and through some somewhat mysterious circumstances. And they find themselves trapped here within Khazalgar.
What are they
Mysterious
doing
mostly
down
'cause I
there?
can't say anything more about it just yet because of spoilers, but it's not like spooky mysterious, it's the other kind. As a people, the Arathi are worshippers and wielders of holy fire. They are dedicated to bringing hope and light to the darkness.
Oh, all right,
They're
now I
tough,
see.
resilient people, with every member of the society being
They want to
able
impose
combatants.
order.
Some few are further blessed
below.
with paladin-like abilities through their devotion to the light. Even their airships are powered by sacred flame. The extent to which they're comfortable in battle is probably a good thing because they have established a home away from home in an enormous cavern bordered by an endless underground sea from which terrifying creatures emerge to rampage and create havoc. Not my idea of a cool place to hang out, but they're really, really tough. These watery monstrosities, though, are nothing compared to the threat from below. A constant swarm of Nerubians has been held back so far from invading the Arathi lands. The assault is unrelenting, the threat is dire, and the Arathi can't hold much longer. These bastions of light against the darkness are far from home and limited in number. Sure would be terrible if there was also division within the Arathi ranks. Just saying. That would be pretty rough, what with them being so outnumbered. We could probably help them. All right, speaking of the Nerubians in the War Within, we'll explore their
these
last
are the evolved
kingdom deep within
Nerubians, right?
Khazalgar. These ancient survivors of the Black Empire who rejected their former masters have developed their own culture here in the deep darkness. As Terran mentioned earlier, Xal'atath has made a bargain with the Nerubian queen Ansarek, who seeks a new future and renewed glory for her people. The Nerubians are extremely capable and devious adversaries who have been honing their skills with their constant assault on the Arathi.
All right.
But domination hasn't come fast enough for the Queen's taste, as the Arathi has managed to hold against this onslaught. So this deal with the Harbinger has included some assistance for her troops. Through some dark alchemical process, Xal'atath has provided the knowledge required to evolve chosen Nerubians into paragons of their race, enhancing their viciousness. And Queen Ansarek has embraced these modifications with enthusiasm and eagerly offered her army to achieve the Harbinger's schemes. It appears to be a win-win situation. But not all Nerubians share their sovereign's enthusiasm for change and her embrace of Xal'atath. Shadowy figures with far too many limbs maneuver against the Harbinger's plans in opposition to the Queen's desire. As you might expect, any foray into this Nerubian kingdom introduces us to a variety of citizens, including some forms we've never encountered before. Here's a layout of some of the Nerubian models that are completed and also some that
there's
are
a big
in
one
progress,
there.
as well as scale reference for goblins and humans, so you just get a sense of size. In addition to the Nerubian citizens, there are also domesticated insects who serve the kingdom as beasts of burden and pets. The team is hard at work building out the full range of carapaces, carapae, I don't know, whichever, skittering legs, grabby arms, piercing spiky bits, and creepy eyes for you to enjoy, I guess. All right, let's talk about our zones. The surface of Khazalgar is our first zone, called the Isle of Dorn. This is the home of the earthen surface dwellers, as well as other native species of creatures. The fertile soil, flowering plant life, and generous waterways provide
I kind of like
nourishment
it,
for
to be
animals
honest.
in this untouched paradise.
Reminds me a bit of
An important facet of earthen
Shalazar
society is Cinder
Basin,
mead. This volatile
but
substance
more
is manufactured from molten
primal.
honey, produced by enormous fiery bees. Their home groves are a remarkable sight, as the hearts of the trees themselves glow with lava-like fluid.
Is this still the same
is
zone?
always an exciting time, as the ferocious creatures are understandably protective of their hives.
All right.
Now, the roosts at Stormwatch are wreathed with lightning and fierce winds. These wild elemental rooks may choose to serve a member of the Oathsworn, who, if so blessed, becomes a Storm Rider, one of the guardian warriors of the earthen people.
Really beautiful.
Deal with hostile creatures from time to time, but for their most part, the existence is relatively peaceful, fairly sort of peaceful. Their comfortable homes are often situated near the places where they once labored as adherents to the edicts. Those sites are now in disrepair, and in some cases, the lair of other creatures. Of course, the Isle of Dorn boasts a great walled city where the Oathsworn live and serve the edicts of the Titans. The city of Dornagal is the location of many important civic buildings, markets, traders, and crafters.
Isle of Dorn.
Here that a traveler will find the expected amenities of a capital city, as well as the Titan Causeway, the defense of which is the Oathsworn's primary charge. Now, beneath the surface of the Isle of Dorn lies our second zone, the Ringing Deeps.
All right,
As the name suggests, it is here that the Earthen are engaged in their work in accordance with the edicts. In these industrial areas of this cavernous space are huge, complicated machines, lava-heated foundries and forges, and waterworks, both to cool and to power huge machinery. Maintaining these Titan mechanisms and keeping everything running is both the responsibility and the passion of the machine speakers. The Earth has shifted too in places, revealing openings to the sky above to the Isle of Dorn. These cenotes bring light and water into areas once shrouded in darkness. Abundant greenery, flowers, and creatures that do not typically dwell in caverns may be found in these idyllic spots. It was really important to us as developers that we delivered the fantasy of the hard-working industry but still
All
have some
right.
breakup areas of natural beauty that don't feel like dark, constrained tunnels. Now, as the machine speaker population has dropped, they've had increasing difficulties with kobold incursions. And indeed, the kobolds have taken over the mines, the work areas. They've even built a city of their own.
I see.
Unexpectedly, the kobolds are actually becoming a force to be reckoned with under the aggressive actions of their leader, the Candle King. You knew it had to be a candle. No take candle. No take candle. With the passage of time, the earthen have diminished both in number and in the knowledge required to perform the various routines to tune and repair the processes. The old ways have been forgotten, and new creative methods must be employed if the edicts are to be obeyed. So they're kind of making it up as they go along. From the ringing deeps, we descend further into Khazalgar to reach Hollowfall.
This is still even more deep. I see a bright light over there. Is that what is that light? I really wonder.
A vast hollow area in the earth, bordered by an endless underground sea. This
Well, if we have trees and flowers deep within Earth, I mean not Earth, Azeroth, then that light is kind of like the sun, the source of light.
tenuous foothold under the bright light of an enormous crystal
Oh,
has
a
allowed
crystal.
the Arathi to survive, using their airships to travel to high plateaus and establish
What a
docks,
big crystal that
light
is.
towers, villages, and even a priory. From their capital of Mereldar, these trapped people strive to keep hope alive and spread the light, while engaged in a near constant battle with the Nerubians at their
Well,
borders.
so far seems
The
that
open spaces, the bright light, and the greenery are
the
intended
map
to feel
size
as though
is
we're on
really
the surface,
huge. These new
somehow, rather than
zones.
in this sort of strange hollow within Azeroth. The crystal provides brilliant light, warmth, and growth for vegetation. You may notice that all the blooming plants have opened their
Look at
blossoms
this, it's
toward
really
the light
huge.
and seem to be reaching in that direction whenever they're in Hollowfall. Unfortunately, the Crystal Sun has
The
been
design
changing in recent
team.
years. Where
Oh,
once the light was steady and reliable, it now fades without warning, plunging the Arathi
what is this?
into
The void?
darkness, save where they have built light towers and maintain their holy
So they
flame
have night
beacons.
and day
In
with
the
that
absence of this light,
crystal.
the dangerous Kobis and other fierce creatures emerge from the sea to rampage.
Yeah.
As the Arathi are barely holding back the Nerubians, these unpredictable episodes are incredibly demoralizing and deadly.
Hollowfall.
Happily, the light has always returned to the crystal, so far. And at the deepest descent in the war within, we reach the zone of Aj-Kahet.
So this means it's descending. So the zones are kind of like in a floor-to-floor structure, like an elevator. I don't understand if they are all in the same floor or.
Anyway, the Nerubian city of Threads has been built on the ruins of itself, over and over and over again. As areas
Oh,
decay and crumble, a new district is built upon its ruins, and as a result, the city climbs ever higher. Those
Alright.
Nerubians favored by the queen, or possessing enormous wealth,
the design
or
team
both,
will be really
command the
tired.
greatest views and live in the highest
3
places over
expansions,
these
guys.
swarming masses of the many districts.
Yeah.
The Burrows is the home of the scavengers, the forgotten, deep in the decay and the filth. The Umbral Bazaar is a trading hub of fine silks, fascinating alchemical
But
discoveries,
so
and
far,
other
I'm
exotic
really
and hard to
liking
find goods.
the art,
The Skanes
the
are the home
design.
of the lore keepers and scholars who toil to maintain the history of their people and research myths and legends of Azeroth. There are many other districts and less than savory neighborhoods, both well-known
Are there
and
so many
secret,
legends
that the
here
careful
down
adventurer
below?
could discover, should they risk life and limb to do so. But the key to such exploration is fitting in among the Nerubians and being accepted, an enterprise best accomplished through skill
Is that
in
a
the use
hole?
of pheromones and considerable bravery. The zone of Aj-Kahet features areas of
Nice.
spectacular dark beauty.
I
that are
like this.
inhabited by
I
these creatures
really
that have found a
like
way to
this.
live among the Nerubians without being deemed a threat, found to be particularly tasty to consume, or just too much fun to torment. The mobilization of forces to assault the Arathi while also providing military
Askahet.
might to achieve Xalatath's schemes has stirred up all sorts of inhabitants of the
So
darkness.
it's 4
And
floors?
deep within the city itself, the Nerubians are gathering an odd substance, the black blood of the old gods, for some unknown purpose. But I'm sure that's fine. And now I'd like to talk a little bit about our zone flow. As I mentioned...
Dragon riding.
Awesome, huh?
This is really,
We travel
really,
from the Isle of
really
Dorn
huge.
into the Ringing Deeps, into Hollowfall, and then into Ashkahet. In the War Within, all of our zones are connected all together using the airlock technology that we developed for Zarelek Cavern, allowing for this seamless descent from the Isle of Dorn all the way to Ashkahet. That was video I just captured last week of the transition between the Ringing Deeps and Hollowfall. As you can see, we built for dynamic flight, and we were able to flow directly between the zones without the load screen. There is some
Nice.
seriously amazing swoopy goodness to be had moving across these zones and through these spaces. It feels so cool to burst out of a really tight area and into just a huge drop like that. It's so exhilarating. Now, this blobby map that I've got up here was an early attempt during development of our zone flow to try to figure out how we would stack these zones together and achieve the relationship between their geography and geometry that made sense and felt great to traverse. We ended up with something slightly different than this, but this is pretty representative to explain what the world builders were thinking about.
And all of this for a 9-month expansion. I mean, they really need to rush if they want to release the other ones in time as well, the other expansions. I bet with you that they are already designing the second expansion zones, the Midnight expansion.
When they plan these spaces out.
They
It was
really need to
important our
rush.
design
This is
that while
really
3 of the 4
ambitious.
zones are technically underground, they didn't feel that way, and that they were distinctly different from one another. We pursued that goal by introducing the natural cenotes in the Ringing Deeps and leaning into the fantasy of the classic underground foundry and industrial workspaces.
But you know, when you have a 9-month expansion, you don't even have time to feel good with yourself, with the gear that you get from the raids. How they are gonna manage this? You finish a raid and what? Next month there's already a new one. All your gear, all that work still was for nothing. I mean, well, it was for something, but your feeling that you achieved the gear that you wanted, you did good in the raid in performance, in terms of performance, that will be really easily discarded, those feelings. And that's the part that it's really a cons for me. But let's keep moving.
So even in the zone that felt the tightest, there's places that look as though they're actually on the surface. And within Hollowfall, we created a massive hollow space in a cavern so vast it feels like an exterior, with a huge artificial sun in the form of a gigantic crystal. And in Ashkahet, we leaned hard into traditional Nerubian architecture with hanging nests and huge palaces built all over a decaying city that just falls away into the depths. And that is the last bit of eye candy I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this peek at what we've got in development.
I'm kind of worried.
So now it's time for me to introduce you to Morgan Day, who's going to give you lots of information about dungeons, raids, and
All
systems.
right.
Enjoy. Thanks
This
very
is what I
much.
wanted to
Bye.
see. I wonder how many raids and dungeons this first expansion will have.
Hello, BlizzCon. My name is Morgan Day, and
Because
I'm
a 9-month expansion, how many raids would it have? 2 or 3 at most?
Here to talk to you about some of the upcoming content,
Let's
features,
see.
and systems in The War Within. I'm sure I'll also make some funny faces that I'll regret later in thumbnails, but whatever. First up, let's talk about dungeons. There will be
All right.
There will be eight new
8.
dungeons coming in The War Within, 4 during level up, 1 in each of the 4 zones that Maria just walked us through,
Right.
as well as 4 at max level. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening in these dungeons. For instance, we have like a kobold dungeon where you'll meet that Candle King, where there's like a light mechanic that takes
Sure.
place. You have to kind of keep it going to light your way. There's a dragon riding dungeon, of course, but also one of my favorites is the Cinderbrew Meadery that Maria just talked us through. So this is a dungeon that takes place on our first zone, the Isle of Dorn, which is where you'll experience, all
8
of our earthen
dungeons
buddies.
at the
And
start.
this is the place where they make that Cinderbrew mead that she was talking about. They take in all that honey that they gather from throughout the zone to make the mead, to do all kinds of fun and/or nefarious things with. Although I do have to say, I feel like they're a little bit behind the times. I feel like all the kids are drinking that, hard seltzer or something these days, but whatever. They're old school, I get it. Next up, our raid, the Nerubar Palace. So this is an 8-boss raid that will take place in the zone of Aj-Kahet. And this is really the culmination of all of those machinations we keep hearing about that we see play out between the Nerubian Empire, their queen, and her collaboration with Xalatath. So for this next one, we don't normally show things this early, but I thought it'd be cool to share. On the left there, you can kind of see the top-down view of the raid. And on the right...
Guys, give me just a minute. I need to put something on the fridge. Be right back. Really quick. I'm back, guys. Sorry. And yeah, that was nice that I paused here. So is that the raid structure? Well, from the 2D view, it really is interesting, guys. It really is interesting. The raids seems that is always straight forward most of the time. This, well, some might agree with me, others might not, but I kinda like when raids are kinda straightforward, but it's a bit of a con as well, because if you start making raids so straightforward, then everything will feel the same. If you do a second raid with the same principle, the map is too straightforward, the raids will start feeling boring. But I know that these kind of raids are really more faster to design. It doesn't require you to track back or go back in the raid, or this is completely a different formula if you compare with Naxxrama's map, for example, or Zulaman, for example. This is really different. But this might work, but not in the long term.
It's more of like a side cutout. So we like to work on all of our dungeons and raids when they still look like this, as it's much easier to iterate.
See? Is this a raid? Is this a raid map? This looks more like a dungeon map. It's too straightforward. Too straightforward. I mean, alright, it's the first raid of the expansion, but if you're gonna start doing always straightforward raids, they're gonna start feeling boring also, design-wise, of course.
While we're in 2D than it is to kind of change the zones around once we're in the game and it's all blocked out. So to step us through the raid really quickly, After barging through the front door, you'll very quickly fall and or get knocked into one of those giant pits of that black blood of the old god that you'll hear much more about in Ajkahet. And then you'll battle your way through the harvest pits, and then finally traverse your way back up through the stalactite wing, which is not a final name, I promise, until you finally fight your way into the Queen's inner sanctum, where you'll come face to face with her as the end boss. So as you can see, this will kind of feel like a winged raid in terms of the vibes, but in terms of the player experience, it'll actually be quite a bit more linear than what you might be used to for a raid.
Too much linear, my friend, and I hope you try to be diverse. Don't do all the raids so linear, please.
With some winged vibes. So something that I also think is fun to talk about really quick is with all of our dungeons and raids, we like to try to explore like what is the thing that's going to make this space feel really unique, that's going to make it stand out from all the other times that we've built these dungeons and raids. And with this space, we really thought that, you know, given that we have the Nerubian to play with, they've got all these amazing like webs and silken threads that you can kind of traverse the zone through. We thought it'd be really fun to explore verticality as a major element of this.
All right, all right.
So I think that'll be really fun to see what the team comes up with for that. Next up, let's talk about systems.
Then if you wanted to test verticality, don't test horizontally. The raid kind of likes feel a straight line.
So I want to walk you through some of our features and systems at a really high level, but first I want to talk about some of the philosophies that are really guiding us to add these into the War Within. So first and foremost, you know, we really want to continue to extend the philosophies of Dragonflight into the War Within. And really when we talk about that, there's three main pillars that I want to touch on. First, we really want to make sure that we're focusing.
Do you see the crowd, guys? All these people here, they have to be like 20-ish to 40 years old.
On evergreen features. We want to make sure that we're making World of Warcraft
it's
better
people
forever,
that
and not focusing on things that we know we're going to have
don't
to leave
have
behind
already
as
so
we
much
move into
time
future expansions.
to play. Right.
Next, we want to make sure that there's something for everyone. So whether you're a hardcore raider, a PvPer, a collector, or apparently like Holly, you just love to play tons of alts and run around the world exploring things.
All right.
We want to make sure that there's something in War Within that you can really geek out over and that resonates with you.
That's good.
And finally, we want to make sure that we're continuing to build on our philosophy and build on our systems and content with people who play multiple characters in mind. We want to make sure...
All right, so at least they are still rewarding players for grinding.
We want to make sure that we're building all of our systems to really respect the time of the player behind the keyboard and not...
But if the expansion's lifespan are going to be shortened and you try to do a system, well, the core of the system will require you to grind, where the player will get time to play if they don't have time. You see? I hope Blizz is aware of that.
Not focusing so much on the accomplishments of that individual character.
Okay.
So let's talk about delves. Delves are a new feature that will be integrated into the outdoor
Delves?
world experience, where the fantasy of these is actually that you'll be joining the Dragon Scale expedition in their search for lost treasures all across Khazalgar.
Lost treasures.
Delves are an evergreen feature that is really integrated
Geocaching,
into that outdoor world
kind of like
experience.
that.
We want delves to be a new pillar of endgame content for those outdoor world explorers. We really view this as something like when we added World Quests back in Legion, where they are going to be really integrated and transformative into that outdoor world, especially that endgame loop. So one of the main reasons I'm stoked about delves is that these will provide an opportunity for us to give seasonal content and rewards to those outdoor world explorers. So that means things like rewards that you're used to, like mounts, achievements,
All right,
titles.
all right.
But we'll also be adding a outdoor row to the Great Vault with War Within. So that all of you Outdoor World explorers will be able to share in the joy of rushing to the Great Vault every week to collect your loot. And there will also be 13 unique delves that we'll be launching War Within with. And
13
delves will
unique,
scale from 1 to 5 players and be role agnostic.
Small
so that means if you want to
adventures.
play a delve solo, that's totally cool. If you want to go with you and your partner, that works as well. Or you can bring your whole dungeon group in, and the delve will scale based on your group size and your roles.
All right. I think there was kind of adventure system in Pandaria that you could go with 3 players,
And I would
wasn't
be
it?
remiss if I didn't mention one of my favorite features of delves, which I think Maria alluded to earlier, which is that there will be an NPC companion joining you on all of your adventures. So for season 1, that'll be Bran Bronzebeard, as you can see. And Bran will be tagging along with you on all of your delve adventures and will totally never, not even once, aggro a pack of monsters that you didn't want him to. And I don't have my fingers crossed behind my back right now. So Bran will have a customizable talents and mechanics and abilities that you'll be able to kind of load out to suit your playstyle and needs. So, maybe you need a little bit of extra healing. Well, you can load Bran out to provide that for you. And finally, you wouldn't be exploring with the Dragon Scale Expedition
Treasure trove.
if at the end of every delve there wasn't this massive treasure trove that we need Bran to open for us, which hopefully brought a couple of keys to open some of the chests in there. But before Bran can open that vault for you, you'll need to maybe defeat a boss, maybe you'll solve a couple puzzles, something like that, and then Bran will be able to open that vault door for you.
Damn.
Next up, let's talk about warbands. It's happening!
Warbands.
So warbands are a system that we're introducing that will really be the representation of all of your characters across your Battle.net account.
All right.
Warbands are an opportunity for us to create a platform where you can share your achievements, resources, and all that other good stuff across all of those characters.
All right.
So the goal of this system is really to be that representation of the philosophy shift that I mentioned earlier about
So
really
they're
respecting the
promoting
time of the player
alts.
behind the keyboards
Okay,
and not those
okay.
individual characters.
Okay.
There's actually a ton of additions and modifications.
Huh.
We talked about a few here. There's no singular UI screen that says warbands. It's more of all these modifications.
An
and
account
updates and
armory. Okay,
features
okay.
Are kind of wearing a big coat that says warbands on the back of it. It's how I kind of keep it straight in my head. But just to talk about a couple of those cool features, we'll actually be
Transmog.
revisiting the transmog rules of how you acquire those appearances in the War Within. So for all of you who have So that means all of you who have probably had to run 4 characters through all of those legacy instances just to make sure you're collecting all the appearances, that won't be the case anymore in War Within. You'll just be able to run it with 1 character.
All right. This is good.
And Holly mentioned this already, but this is obviously one that people are looking forward to. All of our reputations as well as renown in the War Within will be shared across your entire account.
Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah.
Last but not least, let's talk about hero talents. So here's a quick mock-up of what the UI will look like that I think really helps explain how these integrate into our current talent trees. But really quick, let's take a look at how this looks.
Yeah, it makes sense because previously if you shared the achievements, then of course you can also share other things between your characters. That will reduce your playtime between alts and make you play alts at the same time. So this is good.
So there will be 3 new hero talent trees per class, and 2 will be available per specialization that you can freely choose and swap
All right,
between.
finally some
And also,
customization,
this is another evergreen feature. This is a system
some
that we think
talents. This is
is going to
good.
provide a new vector of choice and customization for you and all of your classes, as well as create opportunities for us to really dig into some of those core class fantasies that are, so amazing. So Hero Talents will introduce these new, small, self-contained talent trees like you just saw in the UI. And the way I like to think about it is like, currently we have two types of
Yeah,
talent points,
finally.
right? We have
This
class
is
talent
really good.
points and specialization talent points. And now in the War Within, there'll be a third type called Hero Talent
Well,
points.
maybe for
So
PvP,
let's look at a
because
quick
if
example, which
this
hopefully
will
explains it a little
be
bit more.
a quick
This is a
expansion,
warrior, as you can see.
won't take 2 years,
These are the 3 hero
you
talent
won't have
trees that they'll have available: Mountain Thane,
too many
Colossus,
raids,
and Slayer.
so
And as you can
you
see
can
in the
stick
top
with
left, we have Protection, who will be able to choose between Mountain Thane and
the
Colossus.
customization
On the
that
right,
you more
you
like.
see Fury. Yep, that's right. Mountain Thane and Slayer are their options, and down at the bottom, Colossus and Slayer are their options.
I wonder
So
how,
this is
how
the
many
majority of our
raids
classes
this
are gonna look
expansion
in
will
the
have.
War Within. The exception,
If
of
it's
course,
gonna be
being
just 1 year.
Druids and Demon Hunters, who are a bit special, so theirs will look a little different. So let's take a look at how you'll unlock the system, as well as how it'll feel playing through as you're leveling through the War Within.
All right.
So the system will automatically unlock at level 71, and it'll just kind of appear in your UI.
Sure.
You'll earn 1 talent point per level as you level from 71 to 80.
All right.
And there are 10 talent points in total, with several choice nodes along the way. So I like to think of this as being similar to like the Legion artifact, where as you were leveling and progressing, you were making some choices along the way.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're going to unlock the whole tree.
I'm reminded of that.
And also, I want to be very clear here. These are extremely low friction to swap between
The
those
Legion
choice
artifact
nodes, as
was
well as to
actually
swap
a good
between the
system.
different
I
hero
liked
talent
it.
trees.
All right, all right. I heard.
So, this should be very analogous to your current talent trees and will follow all the same rules that you used to there. So, at the start of a raid boss, before Mythic Plus starts, before an arena match kicks off, and anywhere in between. And to wrap us up, I wanted to show off a really quick video of what hero talents look like in action.
All
so
right.
This is a warrior, as you can see, pop an avatar, jumping in. And this next one is that same warrior with the Mountain Thane talent tree. As you can see, Stormbolt hits multiple targets. There's a couple of cool new V effects, and a lot of other cool stuff going on there as well. I heard some oohs. Our effects artists will be happy. So that about wraps us up for our What's Next panel.
All right.
We hope you really liked what you saw here, and if you'd like to know more, please join us tomorrow at the Deep Dive panel at noon, where Ian will walk you through some of what you saw today in more detail. Woo, Ian! As well as a bunch of other cool new stuff in the War Within. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a great BlizzCon. Bye!
All right, what do I have to say about this panel and the new World of Warcraft expansion from a saga of 3 expansions that maybe will take 3 years in total? I wonder how they will pull this out. I think that if they're starting to feel pressured, they might have to increase the expansion time span. I think they're raising the bar high. They're raising the bar really high. I think they should stick with the 2-year lifespan formula for the expansions, but yeah, that's not the direction they want. They want you to have a quick game experience, to give you shortcuts, fast content, easier content. Well, like I told you, there are good things. Shareable things between alts. That's really good. You want to play with a mage. Oh, damn, now I have to level up a mage. I don't have a mage max level. I believe there will be shortcuts some way or another that, at least on reputation, as you've seen, and reputation at max can give you good gear, and good gear can open you more possibilities to raid. So you will quickly have alts really geared up. So that's a good thing. Now the bad thing, if these expansions really gonna have just 1 year each of lifespan, you won't have that many raids to do. The story will start feeling rushed. The raids design is gonna start to be linear. You're gonna start feeling that you're not on a raid, you're on Vault of Archivon. You remember that raid? On Wintergrasp? Basically always straightforward. It will start feeling that everything will be linear. So what will players will do? They will start going to PvP. So PvP will require you for the game to be balanced, and as you know, there's always complaints in the recent expansions that the classes are never balanced on PvP. Too many complaints. So this will be a really huge work for Blizzard. They really have to balance really well the classes, and the classes must feel different at the same time. And this was something that some expansions would not be able to reproduce properly. This is a really ambitious saga for Blizzard, but I hope they can really pull this out, you know? I mean, they also reward you if you play more time, but I think that if they are going to do quick expansions, they must not do that as the core, you know, because the player base is all 20 years old upwards. The other ones are all on Fortnite and baby stuff, playing baby stuff. And yeah, so it's gonna be a turmoil on this expansion for Blizzard, but I believe on the other two, Midnight and the Last Titan, they will learn with their mistakes, and those expansions, I feel they will be really good. I feel they will be really good. Alright guys, what do you think? Do you have any observation regarding this? Yeah, so I think I'm gonna play this new Warcraft expansion. And I bet with you that they are already designing and doing the final touches of all the remaining raids of this expansion. And I dare to say, in the middle of the next year, they might be in the middle implementation of the second expansion, the Midnight one. The design team must be really tired. Too many designs to do in such a short amount of time. So I hope their team is ready overall. Everyone that works on World of Warcraft. I wonder if they will pull this out. Alright guys, so I'm playing here a bit Hearthstone. But yeah, if this formula works for World of Warcraft, then I would say nice. But if they cannot do all of this in such a short amount of time, then they ruin the game. This is kind of like a poker game, you see? They are betting all the chips. They are changing the business model. So let's see if it pays off. I hope they can really go and it pays off at the end of the day. Really hope so. Alright, so let's see. But overall the zones feels nice. The mechanics feels nice. I hope they stick to a simple, more modular, and not modular, that's not the word I want to say. I hope they stick with a nice core. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough challenge. But first and foremost, the most important thing they need to do is to have all the classes balanced. That is a must have. The other things, well, nice to have. Let's see. Probably the game will go on Game Pass, right? I mean, pretty much all the games are there, so if you want to attract a younger player base, then you need to put your game on Game Pass. There's no other way. I mean, the game feels good. They will reward you for playing more, but they will not say to you, hey, in order to do this raid, you need to play really, really, really too many hours and grind too much. Yeah, that's a good thing they removed that part. But now let's see if it works. You know? Let's see if it works. Alright, so overall, I feel that this will be a good expansion. I wasn't expecting that much content on this presentation. Let's see how it goes. I think it's feasible. I think they can pull this out. I think they will not abuse the mechanisms and the systems of the game to force you to play more time. Grinding. So overall my thoughts is, as a person like me, I have 32 years old, I have a job, at the end of the day I feel tired. Alright, let's jump to a raid, let's try to find a group. Oh, someone left the raid, now we need to find the group again. Oh, 2 hours passed, 3 hours passed. Shit, I didn't play anything. If they remove that, if they remove that process from World of Warcraft and make things a bit more easier on that sense. Oh, there's a raid going on, let me try to join in. Oh, this raid is happening on this boss, let's click on this button. Now someone has to approve me and let's try to play in this raid. Yeah, this is really the good way to go. Oh shit, in 2 hours I have to grab my kid from the school. This raid will take me 3 hours. Well, I can do this boss. And maybe I can... Yeah, Bartender Bob. The heck, Bartender Bob. I'm playing just a quick Hearthstone match. Yeah. But Blizzard really had too many years to improve the core mechanism of the expansions, and they didn't do it. They didn't focus on that, and now that bit the tail. And now they are doing it. A bit late, but well, maybe it will work. Let's see. This guy really has a strong hand. I really hope they'll be able to pull this out. As for the zones and the areas and the lore behind it, I feel that it's good, it's decent. It was expected, right? This expansion, the Deep Below or Deep Within or whatever, was already on the talks for too many years ago, since after Draenor, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I think it will work. It as a point of in my point of view, as a player that played a few of each expansion, but played a lot on Wrath of the Lich King, I think this is a good way. If they did this after the Lich King, I would still be playing till this day World of Warcraft. I left World of Warcraft because I knew that when it came Cataclysm, I would have to grind everything again and didn't add too much time because I was moving to college, you know? So it's good that they are now worrying a bit about the players that don't have much time. Well, it was their player base. Their player base are now old. So it's good that they are trying to bring all the player bases back one way or the other, either with GamePass for the people more younger, right? They bring medicine so they can sell games instead of one. Hi, Stirbu, how are you? Well, the expansions will be like the lifespan of the expansions will be shortened, right? They won't be 2 years. I think each one of those will be 1 year. They really need to hurry up the lore, you know. And who's the best person in lore that knows the lore and understands the lore? Krits Madsen, of course. So yeah, they really needed to bring him back one way or the other. It's something that I still haven't seen. How was the re-recruitment of Krits Madsen? Maybe I will take a look. Alright. Any more dragons here? No. No more dragons around. But as far as I can see, the expansion seems cool. We're going to investigate the core of Azeroth, probably find some tips and hints about the final Titan, which we already seen on a quest in Pandaria with Rathian. It was expected. These expansions were expected. I just don't know if they're gonna pull out in a 3-year gap. There's a strong creature over there, my friends. Oh my gosh. Stirbu, how much can they milk a cow? They said they want to bring the 20-year saga to an end. and they have something in store for the next 20 years. Stirbu, the game will end once we beat Sargeras. That's for sure. As for war, oh, I already lost. As for war, I'm not sure where are they gonna pull all those 20 years, because if you have 20 years still of war and they want to shorten the lifespan of the expansions, that means that you're gonna have 20 expansions. What we gonna do? We already seen too much in Azeroth. Maybe we will see more stuff in other planets. 20 years is too much. We already venturing deep below. What are they gonna do? We need more new threats, maybe, besides the Burning Legion. Oh. So yeah, I really don't know. And in the second expansion, which is called Midnight, I believe it's already the Void expansion, which is something we still didn't touch too much. So, pretty much all the things are almost covered. I don't know what they're exactly gonna do in the next... after these 5 years or 6 years of war. But yeah, this kind of feels a bit milk the cow. Hey, let's put the game on GamePass, make it really easy and accessible to everyone, attract again the players that are a bit more older, that don't have too much time to play. Well, the raids will be a bit more linear, as we've seen in the panels, and that's really bad for me. I hate when we have linear raids, like Vault of Archivon in Wintergrasp, or the other raid in Pandaria, that was also too linear. But hey, I'm not saying that I want raids like Ulduar, that I go, I dinner, and I sleep there. And I wake up at 3 AM and shut down the computer. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. But kind of like maybe Naxxramas raids, you know? That you can enjoy a bit the map. There's some... It's not so linear, and it doesn't feel that easy, you know? Alright, so... I prefer to upgrade here the tavern. Yeah, let's go with Nagas. There's a lot of Nagas in here. Oh, these are not Nagas. Yeah, this is not a Naga. This is a Naga. But I'll freeze. But yeah, Chris Madsen being back, one way or the other, it's really good. Yeah, I need to get Spotify Premium, that's for sure. But yeah, if they balance the classes and the classes don't feel all the same in gameplay, that's the best thing they can do, and will save all the future expansions. Let's see how this pays off. Alright, so time to get some Nagas. Well, but I tell you this, guys, I think I'm gonna return to World of Warcraft to play this new expansion. I'm gonna give you some background. I played a lot of Wrath of the Lich King. You don't even imagine how much I played that expansion. It felt really solid. I then played Tits and Bits of Pandaria, Legion, and Shadowlands. Shadowlands I played like 2 weeks and I got bored. Yeah, I'm being serious. So, if they change the core to reward players that have time to play and don't have that much time to play, and keep the quality, the Blizzard quality, then they will win the game. That's for sure. And I hope they are able to do it. Seriously? Alright.
Go ahead and hire one of these recruits.
I hope they'll be able to pull this off. So guys, regarding the expansions, I think I don't have much more to say. This was my opinion. But yeah, we have to wait and see. But it's good that they noticed that they are losing constant player base, and now they want to have some kind of constant player base. You log in, you have systems that will keep playing faster, don't require that much grind, but if you grind, you will be greatly rewarded. Let's see if all balances out. I think the game will be interesting. Alright, let's recruit this one. Yeah, I think the game will be interesting. So guys, this was my analysis on the subject. I'll finish now this Hearthstone Battleground. As you know, I'm really addicted to TCG. Yeah, that's my weak spot. I really like TCG. I played all the kinds of TCGs you can imagine. Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Hearthstone. And after this game, I'm gonna wrap up the stream and perhaps stream tomorrow some of our random gaming streams where we play random games. And I think we can wrap. No, we're still not wrapping up, but almost soon. Alright, so yeah, we need more creatures, that for sure. Yeah, now doesn't appear any Naga. That's really bad. Let's recruit this one at least to have some board presence. Yeah, I'm really happy. And I feel the expansion is gonna be good and that Blizzard is aware of their weak points and they are gonna improve on this saga and further beyond. 20 years of more war. Seems a bit far-fetched, but if they pull this off, I still will be able to fight Sargeras in the next 20 years, you know? I really want to finish that guy. It's my... You know, sometimes you have goals in life. Oh, I want to buy a house. Oh, I want to finish my PhD. Oh, I want to beat Sargeras. You know? And beating Sargeras is everyone's objective when you play World of Warcraft. It's that one thing that it's always in your mind, no matter where you travel or who you beat. So, they'll keep teasing Sargeras for the next 20 years, also to keep players engaged. That's okay for me. And I think we're going. Yeah, we lost. We lost. Alright guys, so I hope you liked my discussion regarding the next saga that is coming to World of Warcraft. So, this was my analysis on the subject, and I hope that you liked it. So feel free to subscribe, like, comment, and I'll be here tomorrow. But yeah, this looks definitely good for a World of Warcraft return, as I don't have that much time to play, you know? But yeah, if the system rewards me also and prepares me into the game more quickly and makes it even more accessible for more players to join in, because it's an MMO, MMOs are cool with other people. This is really a good future for World of Warcraft. Now, if they start being greedy, this will be an instant fall down for sure with this kind of fast and easy content and faster expansions. If you put microtransactions, you're done for. You're going down. Don't do that, please. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next stream. Peace.